The following is a list of Moors who have been kidnapped and are being held for a demand of income. The demand of income is being made against the family as well as through fraudulent submissions of documents alleging that they are being cared for in some sort of long-term care fashion. These Moors have been kidnapped literally off the land by employees of various corporations guised as county, city, township, boroughs. These names that we have all been mentally conditioned to believe are government are not. They are exactly what they say they are. They are municipal corporations. And as such, they, if you do the research, you will find that they are foreign corporations on American soil. Therefore, they do not have standing nor jurisdiction to make a demand of income from the Aboriginal, indigenous people, or any people on American soil. This making their actions criminal. However, as Moors, we must bring these crimes to the forefront via civil complaints against these unalienable Constitution treaty secured rights of the people, Aboriginal, indigenous Moors. So we start off with our sister Abkare Bay, who was kidnapped through a joint venture between Memphis Corporation and Shelby Corporation under the purview of Tennessee. Now we say under the purview of Tennessee, which is a union state, because every union state is bound and obligated to protect the people from foreign and domestic invasion. We then have Daoud Ill under the purview of Arkansas, Amir Muslimin Ill under the purview of Missouri, as well as Kush Ra Kush Bay. We have Asar Patar Amin Ra under the purview of Ohio. And if we don't have the municipal corporation, the ones that did the kidnapping, the employees that did the kidnapping, we just reference the union state that is bound and obligated to protect the people. We have Jeremy Paler Ill, Terry Thorne Bay, J. McCall Brooks Bay, Joseph Canaday Ill, Kush Amir Bunch Ill, Emmanuel Billings Bay, Yassin Khalik Alamin Ill, and Michael Curry Bay, all being held under the purview of North Carolina. Noble Crisco Ill, being held under the purview of New Jersey. Messiah Aziz Ill and Crystal Ill, being held through a joint venture between Mercer, Freehold, and Trenton Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. We're still waiting on an update regarding the Patricia Bay's infant baby kidnapped by Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. Eldridge Teron Fisher Ill and Marquise Sevillon Ill under the purview of Indiana. Solomon Ill Bay and Mumi Abu Bay under the purview of Texas. William Barrett Ill and Bomani Abidwell Ill, William Barrett A. kidnapped under the purview of Virginia, and Bomani Abidwell Ill kidnapped by Chesapeake Corporation under the purview of Virginia, Cherry Bay under the purview of West Virginia, Thomas Lee Bay under the purview of California, Victor Eduardo Juarez Ill, kidnapped under the purview of Harlem, under the purview of Georgia, Natural Tahuti Ill, kidnapped by Benner Corporation under the purview of Pennsylvania Corporation, and then Rennie Bay, kidnapped by Hamilton Corporation under the purview of Ontario, which is a subcorporation of Canada. All right. There we have Moors who have been kidnapped and are being held hostage by employees of various corporations on American soil, which is in violation of the American Constitution, and it is a treaty violation. And being that we're talking about Moorish Americans, Aboriginal indigenous on this land, who are being kidnapped by foreign, or rather employees of a foreign corporation on American soil, this makes this an international issue, because you have two nations with one nation warring against another. Therefore, this is an international issue. If you have a family member near or far of your immediate family or one of the family that you know and you would like them added to this list, please send an email to mhseyeswideopen@gmail.com, and in the subject line put Kidnap Moor, and please provide us with their free national appellation, the municipal corporation that the employee is operating through that kidnapped them, along with the union state that they are in, that corporation is in purview to. All right? Thank you very much.
All right, Islam, and welcome to MHHS Eyes Wide Open. This is your host, Annie Eda L., along with my co-host, Ms. Haim Oliphil.
Peace and love, Annie E. Peace and love, Moors. Mom,
peace and love.
Glad to be back.
And
glad you're back this week. It's good to be back with you on the line this week. Missed you last week, but all is well.
Yes, I did. And last week, Anna E wasn't on the line. We shared our experience going to a plantation. So it was a timely, it was the Divine Law that covers all events, right? Islam, peace, and love to all. And finish introducing, I just want to make a comment about what you just, something I just got from when you were reading, that I was thinking about. Like, you put it so succinctly, but a lot of people don't see that when you said that more Americans who are absolutely Aboriginal indigenous to the land, and it just made me think about how people don't realize that, you know, and how they work for these corporations that you just listed and don't know. But we spoke to someone earlier today, and they realized that they got stress and everything, and then they realized, oh, my gosh, I'm working English charter or English charter that then became incorporated against the people. Anyway, we got to bring on Kudo. Is he here today?
You know what? And I felt like I could have taken off tonight, but last week I had to, like I said, I had this court that's going. I had this case that's going into the Supreme Court, so I'm getting my hands or toes or baptism in submitting a Supreme Court brief, and so I last week I had to take coming down to like the last day to pull the appeal together, and I was so mentally drained that I couldn't do anything. Yeah. And so I said I can't do the show because I got to get it written tonight. This is the deadline. So that's why I wasn't there.
You had what you had really. It wasn't so much that you waited to the deadline. It was that you had a what's called
drained. I was fried.
Yeah, that's not you. That can happen.
I was fried.
Yeah.
With everything that we go through in our lives, and and the additional things that the universe brings to us, and nothing is ever by accident. I was so fried that I had to just take off so that I can write that. And let me tell you, I always tell people, look, if you're going to write a writ and you're not in the right frame of mind, don't write nothing. Go, play some music, go dance, go hang out with some friends, go take a walk. I went to the mall. I wasn't going to buy anything, but I went to the mall. I got some fresh air. I went walking in the park. I walked by the river, and I came home and I burned me some sage. Because I was like, something is blocking me. I need to get it off of me. So I was burning sage all over the place. Get it off. So
that's important because you're casting a spell. That's what spelling is. So you really got to do all the things that you just said. Right.
So it's groovy to be back here this Tuesday to do the show.
Yeah.
Word. We hope you cast that spell smooth off you. Took that negative energy off. I know the feeling.
Yes.
I definitely know the feeling. Yeah.
Yes.
It's real.
It's like really, you know what? It's like if you weren't taking things to boost your vitamin C level, now's the time to do that. When you're in the midst of writing a writ, when you look, I don't care what nobody says. I'm not trying to downplay the back and forth correspondence that goes to these employees of the municipal corporation. But let me tell you, when you get into filing a civil suit, so draining. It is nothing like it. And you have to be running to do that because everybody acts like it's a big secret just to tell you the process that you have to go through. So you got to run to figure out what the process is. What do you have to file? When do you need to file it? Who do you need to? And while you're going through that, the clerks are throwing your stuff back at you for little things. Oh, you didn't dot your I. Oh, this isn't the right spacing. This isn't the right font. This is and because you have the deadline, couldn't change the deadline. That's the game that is being played. But here's the thing: you've got to play the game because you need to get it into the Supreme Court, and you can only get there through appeal. So it's unfortunate, but you know what? It's a lesson. That's all it is. And it's a lesson. I don't know where it's going to go. Sometimes I don't even know where the universe is guiding me. That's all I can do is try to stay calm. And my intuition tells me to do, regardless of whether it makes sense or not, because I'm so clear that I'm being used. Because this is an adventure for me, first time. And, so at some point, I'll be sharing it with people, but not right now because I just don't have the mental space for it.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I've been. Say that again.
Is Cujo not going to be with us tonight?
Oh yes, I got a text. I apologize. Cujo is not going to be with us tonight. He has a previous obligation, so he's not going to be with us. So it's just us three.
Okay, all right, not a problem. I was just wondering. I wanted to make a comment about the Canaan land. I just wanted to tell everybody out there, look, if you're really looking to be a member of a temple, just so that you can be a member of the temple, because some people, that's what they're looking for. Some people are looking for that, thinking that will make them a Moor. From all the things that we see going on right now, from many of those who say they are temple hold positions and all of that. I'm telling you, we just simply putting out there for the suggestion, because Cujo has already said it. I think it's on our site, that if you want to be an honorary member, I would strongly suggest you be an honorary member of the Canaan Land Temple there, where Cujo is the Grand Sheik, and the reason is that is North America, and I know it's a long way, but he has online classes, online Sunday school, online stuff that you can listen to. And from what we see from some of the, I'm going to use quote-unquote old Moors, they talk about, I've been a Moor since 1972 and all that kind of stuff, and I come out of the temple. From what we see, they are totally remiss in the lessons that they were supposed to have been able to comprehend, and the activity in which they were supposed to be doing in these, 100 years. Believe me, I'm not sure. Yeah, man, they are way off, man. And some of them got, Go ahead. I wanted to interrupt that.
Nah, because they be on the internet talking stupid crazy.
Yes.
Like, talking stupid crazy. Like, we want, what happened, what did the people at RV Bay do, such and such and such. And these is Moors who are claiming to be in the temple. And I'm like, how dare you? Like, how dare you, after being a part of an organization that was around for 100 years, try to criticize, what people been doing in the last 10, 15, 20 years. Like, how dare you? You know what I mean? These people got a lot of nerve. But the thing is this. We love everything Noble Drew Ali did. You know what I mean? And I would say, and let me know if I'm wrong for saying this, but the legacy of what we're doing isn't necessarily the legacy of what the MST of A has done since Noble Drew Ali passed, as far as the infiltration when he was on the scene to present day. Not to say that we threw out Noble Drew Ali's lessons, but the range of having the opportunity for 100 years of a collective, unified front of different temples all over North America to now, and you telling me we don't have the school still that Noble Drew Ali was saying, was that was a mandate that every temple must have a school. So don't look to RV Bay Publications, who has been doing it for the past 10, 15 years or so, and a publicist sui juris longer than that, okay, when the Moor Science Temple of America, and shout out to Cujo, Canaan Land Moors, because I'm not talking about them. You know what I mean? And I hate to even have to speak like this, because the division is so ugly looking from the outside in. But there has been, there has been a campaign where it has to be a separation. Okay. So my thing is, how dare these so-called Moors come on any type of platform as if they're Moorish, when really these are Moriscos mentally, and in fact, and on paper, these are Moriscos. How dare you ever, you know what I mean, try to discredit RV Bay Publications, ever. And then, real talk, because they and pardon me for venting like this, but there's been a massive slander campaign, and they act like Moors haven't built anything. And I'm saying that, Moors did. You know what I mean? Mentally and physically. And, okay, we know there was after effects, but let's be for real. You know what I mean? Because these people are, again, on the outside looking in. You know what I mean? So I'm not to defend anybody, but you're not going to disrespect elders who have built something. I was out there laying foundational cinder blocks for things that were being built. And the highwaymen, the Democrats, the Pilgrims came and burnt the greenhouse down. So, you know, when they say things like people didn't build anything, it's a disrespect. I want to say it's frustrating, but it's ignorant. You know what I mean? Because they do not know the work that people have put in. So I'm saying, how dare you ever disrespect what has been done? Whether you like who it is or not, that's not the point. What has been done, you can never erase that. That's etched in stone, metaphysically.
Well, RV Publications is also something that has been built. I mean, when you really think about it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Yes, absolutely. If I wasn't clear on that. Yeah.
Oh, no, I think you was talking about the building that was built, but it doesn't matter.
Everything.
Like,
Everything Moor's tried to do. I'm not talking about anybody's specific character, because we could find flaws in each other to the day we die. I'm talking about what has been done. You know what I mean? And that people, no matter what they say, cannot take away or erase out of history. Though they might not know the history, you know what I mean? But still in all, that's something that you will never erase. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, when they ask what has been built in disrespect to an online university, you know what I mean? That everybody is, I don't know how to put it any other way, except for there's a lot of people being disrespectful to the legacy that has been laid down. You know what I mean? Not personal feelings, not attitudes, not none of that. Just the real facts of situations. So, my fault, I didn't mean to go on. But you said something that made me have to acknowledge that, because there's been a massive slander campaign. You know, that Morisco frequency is not even going to be mentioned in anything Moorish anymore. There's a Moriscos. So, you know.
Yeah, right. And also, educational, very, very good educational reviews or rebuttals to some of the things that are said can be found on Mantis Views 29. And I just have to give you kudos for the manner in which you put some of that stuff together, son. It's really well done, and it makes people think, because the prophet said, if I could get you thinking, you would for yourself. But one of the main things, too, is it's very, I don't want to say disappointing. It's very interesting how the people still don't know what law is and what law is not, and do not recognize when someone is actually being lawful or being unlawful or being colorable in law, which is called color of law, semblance of that which is real but is not. And it's very distracting and can be discouraging to some, to find people who are supposed to have been, as stated, I've been in this for 30 years, since 1970, whatever, and they still have never looked into anything that has to do with one of the 5 principles, which is justice. They have never even looked into that to see what is just and what is not, what is law and what is not, what love is, what truth is, what peace, freedom that brings justice. They haven't looked into any of those 5 pillar principles and exercised them in any way that is shown out. What they have done is reflected the 5 pillar principles that we uncovered from the Ellis Island of the principles, the opposing principles. And they live in it, and they breathe in it, and they exercise it without even realizing that they are going against their own people, and not forget, before you can get to their own people, they're going against that which is truth and law, and it's amazing, So whether they are aware or not aware, they're actually warriors and agents. When I say agents, I don't mean that they're necessarily paid. It really don't matter, because the word agent means something that works with something else to meet an end. So they're working with the opposing principles. And some don't even realize it, but all it reflects is, no, we really haven't studied like the Prophet told us to. No, we really, haven't learned to enforce the law as we were told to do. That's all that they're really, 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 like, in a way it's horrifying, but then again, in a way, you can't change anything until you recognize it. So by the constant coming out and saying things that shows clearly where they are or what they do know or what they don't know. You know what I mean? They're actually exposing themselves. So the longevity of that is like, in other words, they're rearing their ugly head so the universe can do something to cut it off. We don't really have to be totally upset about it. Just keep putting the truth out. And that's why I'm saying your little what I call visual analects, because they're not that long. Because you can't have stuff too long. But let me tell you, when I say you can't have stuff too long for our people, it's not a slight against the people. It's not a slight against anyone. It is just a result of the fact that we've been mentally conditioned not to read, not to comprehend, and we're sitting in a jurisdiction that belongs not to us. Everything in our life is about jurisdiction. So when we're have the wrong jurisdiction mentally, which is what the mental slavery really is, then everything that we take in, is also viewed and conceived or perceived incorrectly. But many don't know that. So all I'm saying is that the exposure of these things has a flip side that's a good side, because those are the ones that you will not be in the camp. You know where they are. It's like some of this is so hidden and deep in our psyche that you may not recognize it until it shows itself. So all of these things being said are showing itself. And so anyone who's halfway studied, halfway, just a little teeny bit, will recognize something's wrong with it. When someone says, well, for instance, a driver's license, if you don't have a driver's license, it's against the law. If you literally really say that, then it's so clear that you really don't know, because in truth, it's not law. You have to know what that is for. And as of January 1, let's make that clear, there's been many deadlines for states to get a new, and everybody hear this, for the states to come up with a new identification card. Now, their identification card, first of all, is only for those who are, entities of the state, because we ain't even going to call you a citizen of the state, because you can't be a citizen of a corporation, quite frankly, because they're really not government, and but for lack of a better explanation, citizen can mean member. So you're a member of this corporation. So that license instrument, they've been putting down a deadline for all the union states to come up with a true ID, because the reason is that the license instrument, or the driver's license instrument, it is not ID. I know you're probably saying, what you talking about, Raz? But it is not. It is what it is. They have coercion and through trickery made you believe it's an ID, because through that instrument alone is where they tie in all their stuff, and they get you in the jurisdiction where they can, spank you all the time, rape you all the time, as such. And so it's not an ID. We've been saying it for years, and now their deadline for them to come up with a true ID is January 1 after this year.
Also, no, it's going to be in full implement by 2018, according to the updated link. Right. So,
okay.
Yeah, right. It's going to be uniform.
I just wanted to add, it will not be able to be used at airports. Now, hold on. It will not be able to be used at airports as identification any longer, because it is not an ID. Now, here's what's happening. This is a warning to the people. They're going to come up with something else, possibly, but they really can't skate away from this anymore. But if they did come up with something else that they wanted you to subscribe to, those who actually believe that crap that they've been laying down, that as Annie explained, they're corporations. They're either working on a charter, which is English, and this is America, or they're working on a charter that they've incorporated, still coming from the same place, which means if they're a corporation, they're not government. So if they come up with something, a whole lot of people are going to fall for that. This is what they're doing. It's because we have jurisdiction issues all screwed up. Islam, yeah.
And that's the truth. So the thing is, the thing that's in dispute about it, too, and, you know, a lot of these Moriscos give validity to the quasi, you know, because the order of the day and everything that's on the table is nationality. Do you understand what it is? Not did you put your fez on and claim to be a Moor. No, that's no. Okay, in all due respect to the fez, no disrespect at all, zero, nothing at all. But I'm just saying, you have Moriscos who put on the garment, you know, of Moors, you know, and that is a birthright, but I'm saying mentally, these are Moriscos. You don't know that, you know, or maybe they do know. Because there's a lot of them who don't really understand geography. They talk about how Canaan land is, you know, foreign because it's not U.S.A., like, you know, it's not North America type of thing. Like, we suffer from a lack of knowing geography. These are minorities you're speaking of, as being spoke about. So, you know, when the issue such as a Real ID Act or Real ID whatever comes into subject matter and is the political issue at hand, you know what I mean? The Aboriginal indigenous people should be on that. Easy, real easy.
Sure.
It should be this nationality time. Nationality is the order of the day. As soon as a pilgrim start mentioning real ID or real identification, you're supposed to know your nationality, your bloodline, lineage, status, estate. Because, now hold on, I got to say this too, because a lot of them talk about building, like let's get together and build something physical, but it's like, well, how are you going to say that and then at the same time act like status or correcting status is not the primitive thing at hand? Because what we going to build on? Because you got to remember, status and the state are synonymous in law. Yeah, it means your relationship to the community, but also in that definition, it's saying that status also means a state. So if you don't understand your mentality, if your mentality is not connected with the land, with the ancestral estate, what are you talking about building on? Because there's a monopoly going on right now. No, real talk. What land? Who got the status? What you trying to buy? What's yours already? What are we doing? What are you trying to do? You know what I mean? Are you trying to support the foreign corporation that's fallen? Because I told you, I said before, you know, Atlantic City is a microcosm of the U.S.A. or the United States, etc. It's a microcosm of all those quasi-national domiciles. And Trump had it popping out there with the monopoly, okay? Now he's your so-called U.S.A. citizens. He's your president now, all right, for the corporation you subscribe to. If history repeats itself, we're about to see a corporation collapse. And
That's
y'all can
right.
still stay on the breast of the artificial. Y'all can stay plugged into the artificial matrix. That's your choice. It is a such thing as voluntary servitude. Y'all got that. Don't press that on nobody else. You know what I mean? We already seen the signs of what's coming. Okay, if y'all want to voluntarily be subjects, that's your choice. But don't act like anybody else is wrong, because they don't want to be that. We're moving into another era of time. Like I've said before, 2020 is very clear vision. I've said that last year, the year before. All right? So we're seeing this of what's about to happen, you know, and that's just what it is. So if y'all want to choose, if that's your choice to remain up under that jurisdiction, so be your voluntary servitude. But leave us alone. Let us do what we're doing on the path of freedom, which is a principle that Noble Drew Ali emphasized, all right? He emphasized 5 principles, and freedom is one of them. And that's a lawful and legal principle and universal principle. So look it up in your dictionary before you try to diss a Moor who's exercising their right to travel. Talk about freedom. Some of you are still slaves with no chains and cuffs on. Stop it. You know what I mean? Stop it. So
well, okay.
I'm going to yield the floor there because I will go in all
I
night.
know, because you go into this thing. But I just want to make one other comment. There are some who are listening to what's being said, and in their minds, because they still have not actually unhooked the mental slavery concepts and indoctrination, they're thinking, well, what do you mean that, you know, we're our own government? Where's our building? Where's our this? Where's our that? They don't really get it.
Things the slaves said that wanted to stay on the plantation. Okay? Remember that.
Exactly. Well,
what you mean freedom? What you mean leave? My fault. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom.
No,
but they was always in doubt. They was always in doubt. So, you know, that's what it is.
Well, what I'm saying is that we have all been so mentally indoctrinated that we look for these things that were literally set up under corporate jurisdictions, and we look to bring that into our jurisdiction and our freedom and our status without knowing that is what has happened. That to even say that means that you're still in that, because you can't see where things are until you start walking in that direction. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's there, but we're so mentally indoctrinated and still under the mental slavery that I guess you're right. We're like, okay, well, where am I going to get, you know, this from? Or where is, like, I remember, where is the building? Where is, you know, not realizing what's up and thinking, oh, well, we got to start a new government. That's the worst thing. When people say we got to start a new government, then they really don't realize what's going on at all.
Yeah, and then there's so many people that's attached to the Pilgrim design, but they forget the fact that when they refuse to recognize natural rights, there's a responsibility to either one, alter or abolish whatever
is going on.
So-called government is in place. Okay, so you got to remember the fact that that's still a birthright to abolish that. Or, like, something has to happen.
When you say abolish, they literally think that we've got to, you know, do like what the Declaration of Independence, what the modern Europeans did. They don't get that, because first of all, we don't really need to abolish government, because what these people, and going back to the intro that we give on this show that Annie just expressed, these people aren't the government. You know what I mean? The government is fine in its intent and purpose. It's just we're not exercising it, because it's only established to protect those inalienable rights of birth. So until one even attempts to have that view of themselves and others and their family, which is nation, it really wouldn't matter. Like, they're waiting for you to provide something for them, and then they'll see it, and then they'll know it. When you are providing all the time, they just have to come and they have to have the the exorcism, to get out all that other stuff so that they can receive that which really already exists. That's the amazing part of it. It's already exists right there, you know.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Sister Amy, we kind of wanted to get into that a little bit because it reminded me of our conversation earlier. I don't know if you have a comment on it, but I was just really wanted to comment on why people have a hard time receiving that which is innate, that which is, that's right there, but they just can't see it. You know, like I guess it's just not meant for them to see it at this time, I guess. I don't know. But the Constitution itself says for posterity. And every time you listen to these modern Europeans, they always talk about for their children and their children's children. We need to be talking the same way because that's the correct position to live this life in, because you are the ancestor returned and your children are too, and everything is for your lessons so that when you return or when the child that comes out of you comes out, it already has the information, innate wisdom. That's what it's all about. So if you're not doing it for posterity, then step off or enjoy this transition of life that you're having now, and, maybe you'll get it and come back another time.
Yeah, and I want to close with this because I put up the part 2 to the slander that was going on, and it's mind-boggling. You got 5-year-olds back in, operating tractors. You know what I mean? Like, no middleman, no, DMV road test. They're whipping tractors, building, clearing asphalt.
That's another thing, right, because there was a comment made that, and you know what I'm going to put on the site, on the road travel card, I'm going to put it on the top there, make it clear. I already did on the page that if you're not with a national mindset, don't even apply for the cards, don't even get them, whatever like that. But I'm going to reiterate it again, particularly where the road travel card is. I'm going to say this is for those who exercise their right to travel, not for those who drive. Because a lot of people think, to get the two confused. And it's setting it up for those to exercise their right to travel in a more collective way as soon as we all get it. It's just like when the prophet said that this is a breakfast fight. As soon as we get it, it's over overnight. So it's coming. The victory is definitely, if we want to call it a victory, it's definitely assured. We know that. It's already been prophesied. We know that, So when we talk about, what they're doing, leave them in their corner to do what they're doing. You need to step out from under that jurisdiction for certain in your life, your manners, and your ways. And it's a process. It doesn't necessarily happen overnight, especially for those who have been here a little longer, a little older, and got tangled up in stuff or whatever like that. It's just going to take a little bit more strategy for you to get out. But for the youth coming in and for the children and for the posterity, it's going to be simple, provided that we get it, and especially provided that women get it, because the first schoolroom is the womb, period. And what mother knows, the child knows, comes out knowing. That is not something that can be altered. It's not an opinion. It is what it is. Islam.
Wow. Speaking on that, I know on the eve, what was and then something about the Queen. Talk to us. What's going on?
All right.
I think, yes, well.
That was an extreme sidebar.
That was what?
I said that was an extreme sidebar, like way.
Yeah, it was, but it needed to be done.
Yeah, and for those people who are looking for the part 2, actually part 1 and part 2 of the I'm calling it correcting concepts that Ms. did under Mantis View 29. You can go to the NHHS Eyes Wide Open Facebook page. It is a public page. You don't have to be a Facebook member to go there and read and see and get information. So if you're looking for part 1 and part 2, it's there. So check it out.
Hey, Annie, did you get, I know you might not have gotten it because he just put it out, I think, yesterday, but did you get a chance to look up the part 2 yet, where he shows?
I started to. Yes, very good.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good.
It's very good. It's not even, you need to watch it. You need to check it out because it's really good. It really corrects concepts without words.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
Man must learn
Exactly.
by signs and symbols.
yeah,
And you know what? It was supposed to be like that, because my recorder, the recorder on my laptop wasn't working. So I was like, I got to work with it like this then. And that's what it was supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's exactly what it was supposed to be.
Exactly. It's a great correcting concept. It's 38 minutes of visual correcting. So check it out. You can go to MHHS Eyes Wide Open Facebook page, and it's there. So let's see. Tonight, subject matter it's just coming from just a whole lot of information that was brought to me, as well as lessons that I have learned, and it's what's interesting is that it all affirms what I have been saying for years. Tonight's broadcast is entitled Government/Family versus Corporations. Now, a lot of times people think that, when you hear these different surnames, you're talking about different families. Or when you hear the word government, you're talking about government. But if you do your studies and your research, you will find that government and family is synonymous. Those two words are synonymous. Government means family, family means government. This is why you can't be a member of the modern European family, because that's a different, all right? They know it. That's why they don't have any problem intermixing or interrelating with one another, because they know it's one family. We're the only ones that act like because you have different surnames, you're different families. And all of this came out in this theory. You got to check it out. It's called Queen Sugar. It has signs and symbols all throughout it. It is telling you about the land. It is telling you about our family as Moors and their modern Europeans. And one of the things that came out in this series is that you have this Asiatic family. They own this land that's been in the family from way back to the Civil War. And around them is these two different family names that own all the land around them, and they've been trying to squeeze them out to get that one last parcel of land. And up until that point, it was presumed that went and did her homework, brought the map, the layout of the land, the lots and the layout of the land, put it down in front of her brothers, her sisters, and her aunts, and other family members, and asked the question. They're surrounded by these two families that in reality is the same family. That's a trick that modern Europeans, it's not even a trick that modern Europeans play on us, because modern Europeans know the truth. It's not your surname that makes you different. It's the species. And I am going to quote, I stole this quote from someone who is listening, and yet they will know I stole their quote, but I don't care because it's so good, so good. We as human beings, we're supposed to be the superior beings, but we are interbreeding with different species. If you're not with an Asiatic, if you're with a modern European, I'm not, as the young people say, I'm not throwing shade. This is science. If you're with a modern European, you're with a different species. That's not even in harmony with nature. You have the bobcat, the leopard, the cheetah, all right? All three of them are cats. But you will never, ever, ever see a cat mating with a leopard mating with a cheetah. But they're all cats. We're supposed to be a superior species, and we got that twisted. And because of that, we have great confusion. That's just a little sidebar. Today's broadcast is called Government/Family versus Corporations. And the question is, if county, cities, towns, township, and boroughs by definition and charter are in fact corporations, why do Moors treat them like they are government? Since many remain asleep, these municipal corporations have instilled further racketeering, extortion, genocide, and human trafficking, and everyone is aware of it. Some participate for the income, others are the income. We, Moors, and other citizens, it's time for us. It's past time for us to wake up. I want to play this clip that I got from this series, Queen Sugar, because when I heard it, I couldn't believe they slipped this into this movie, this series. I've been saying it for years. If you follow the money, you will be led through a ring of corruption. Now, I might need to play it twice, and I might need to clear up what is being said. I am praying that this is a decent, let me rephrase that. I'm praying that it will be comprehended. There's some background noise because this conversation in the scene, it took place in a bar. The Asiatic sister, she goes and she talks to this modern European daughter who works for the ACLU. Pay attention to what is said. Please pay attention to what is said. We'll say it again. Please pay attention to what is said.
I hear the ACLU is taking on the DA's office. Somebody is, but they're not talking. I got to brush off this estimate. Could use a little more background information. Plea deals. What do you have? From what I've gathered, the number of plea deals offered by the DA's office has tripled this year. How do you feel? I hear the ACLU is taking on the DA's office. Somebody is, but they're not talking. I got to brush off this estimate. Could use a little more background information. Plea deals. What do you have? From what I've gathered, the number of plea deals offered by the DA's office has tripled this year. Now, these are low-level offenses, and they aggregate around the 90s. They're rounding these kids up like it's a circus. You've got the right bricks, Nova, but you don't have the right foundation. It isn't about pleading, more than it's about conviction. After the FEMA money dried up, and budget comes, whole government departments got gutted, including NOPD. But everybody knows there's a deficit. Yes, prisons, law enforcement, financed by money skimmed off the top of these for-profit prisons of inmate labor. Short-term or long-term sentence, it doesn't matter as long as the bodies keep coming in. Inmate counts are up. Sheriffs lose money. DA, prisons, police, they're all working together, training inmates like horses. Exactly. If you need it, I got a mountain of case files. If I do this right, the story could change everything.
All right. You may not have comprehended. I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna get a better copy. I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna put it on NHHS Facebook page. But let me just recap what she said. If you didn't hear what was said, she said that the Asiatic modern European daughter who works in the ACLU, the fact that they were kidnapping a lot of young boys and they were giving them enormous amount of prison time for minor, extremely minor issues. Now, we all know that all of this is bullcrap. But what she dropped was because she thought it was excessive. She thought the sentencing was excessive. What the modern European daughter brought to her was it's not about excessive sentencing. If you all remember, FEMA, this is all set in what they call Louisiana. We have Louisiana Corporation. Yes, Louisiana Corporation. NOPD is New Orleans Police Department. All right? Now, Louisiana got a crap load of finance. Backtrack a little bit. Louisiana was losing finance. They had reports that the levees were dangerously close to breaking years prior to the levees actually breaking. So a speculation could be that the levees were allowed to break or may have even been helped to break so that they can get the FEMA money, and that would solve their financial issues in terms of the municipal corporations such as New Orleans. New Orleans is a municipal corporation. If I'm not mistaken, New Orleans was established by the French. So that's a French municipal corporation. Or Spain. They said in this clip, when the FEMA money dried up, the municipal corporation had to find a way to finance their operation because they don't provide a product or a service. So the municipal corporation started building prisons to participate in the, quote, prison industry, because the prisons were getting lump sums of income. And in order to finance the municipal corporations, they are skimming off of the top of the lump sum that the prisons are getting to fund the municipal corporations that have no product, no service, and are broke. Couldn't believe it when I heard it in this series, because I've been saying this for years. And then the Asiatic sister says they are moving the prisoners from prison to prison like horses. Cargo. That's how they finance various different municipal corporations, because they do not provide a product or a service, and they are not government. Do the research on the municipal corporation that is near you, and you will find that they either got a charter from Great Britain, France, Spain, Ireland, Portugal, all right? They still operate on that charter to this day. These are foreign municipal corporations on American soil. That's not government. And that's why they can't give the finance directly to them. It has to come through a constitutionally sanctioned entity, which is the state. And then the state hires these municipal corporations as private contractors. That was let go in the Rob Class versus North Carolina back in 2011, I think. It's right there. if they're a private contractor, how are they getting their money, income? This is genocide and human trafficking, and that's how municipal corporations get their finance. I keep telling people, if you follow the money, you will find the corruption, tearing, the genocide, the human trafficking. It's right under our nose. And what's really troubling is that this information is right in our face, all of our faces, right? I don't care if you want to profess to be a part of the family or not. It's right in your face. And instead of Moor taking a position where you're working to prevent that human trafficking genocide, you got Moors going and creating a venue not to attack the human trafficking and genocide, but to attack family members who are fighting or giving information so that people have the necessary information to constitutionally get rid of or chip away at these unconstitutional acts and corporations. I got a problem with that. This is not a problem of just the Asiatic people, by the way. We get the brunt of it, but this is a challenge for everybody. The only reason they snatch up modern Europeans is the only reason they snatch up Moors, unconscious or conscious, is because we are the principal. We finance everything. If there's no people, there's no finance. And if you go back and you look into the history, you will find that there were more municipal corporations than there are today that no longer exist because the people left. If you ain't got no people, you don't have no income. This is the type of information that we as a people need to be putting together and putting in civil suits, because it is demonstrating genocide and human trafficking. And in order for you to get those international issues addressed, you must bring this into a federal venue. You can't be sitting there going back and forth with the very people who are participating for profit in the genocide and human trafficking. Because what they're going to do is they will just snatch you up. They don't want this information to get out. So one of the things that they made sure to do so that this information doesn't get out is to take over how we receive information. The majority of us went to an institution that was established by a municipal corporation. That's why we don't know nothing. We don't know. We're supposed to be civilians, which means you know law. We don't know nothing. We're supposed to know how. Look, the Constitution guarantees us a right to petition for grievance, but none of us knows how to do that. Many of us have been told that this is about uplifting, forming humanity, whereas you must take your place in your affairs. And yet you still hear people asking, can you find somebody to write a writ for me? Do you know of somebody who can write a writ for me? Can you write a writ for me? I can't do it. I'm just coming into this information. And I got an issue. This is what I have to say. And I know this is what I did. When I came into this information, I had people trying to rush me to do something that I wasn't competent to do. And you don't have to do nothing. When the universe deems you are ready, they will drop something right in your lap. And so I'm so glad that I had people come and tell me, look up these words. Don't let nobody bully you or make you feel uncomfortable because you didn't do something that you knew darn well you wasn't prepared or ready or knowledgeable enough to do. Take the necessary time and study where you are and who your opponents are, what's around you. What is around you? Most people don't even know what's around them. Most people think they got government around them. You got a private, for-profit, foreign corporation around you. So take the necessary time. Do the necessary. You're not going to be able to take this into a civil federal court if you cannot stand up and present your claim, because that's what you do in that venue. You're not going to be able to send in your nationality card, copy of your nationality card, and you're not going to be able to send in a copy of your proclamation and name correction, and everything gets dismissed, because that's not what this is about. This is not necessarily about proving that they don't have jurisdiction, because they don't. Everybody knows that. This is about you individually, as we collectively move in the same direction, putting issues like the right to travel to bed because you asked the right question and you presented your claim in a manner where the American Constitution was your document that supported your substantive rights, not your nationality card, not your name correctional birth or proclamation. Those and even if you do want to submit those in some sort of fashion, I can tell you right now, if you submit that, then that means you can't speak about anything in that document. You got to be ready to stand up and express what is in that document. Most people can't do either one of those things. But we supposed to be moving towards being prepared to handle our own affairs. If that is what anybody is going to do, then you need to have the necessary information, because identifying the opponents or identifying the parties is imperative to your case moving forward. If you identify the wrong parties, your case is going to get dismissed. Your case is going to get dismissed. And if you are not in an appellate or Supreme Court, you're wasting your time. But if you do find yourself in a venue, make sure that you are learning the appropriate lessons that will help you going forward. Because these things, they're not for you to just start and stop. There's so many issues that need to be addressed. So many issues that need to be addressed. And to be honest with you, we as a family, we haven't even started to address one of them. But we talked about taking these issues to the United Nations. Let me tell you, there's a case law for the United States of Mexico where they have 53 documented, all right, documented, where the people were they imposed genocide and human trafficking on the nationals of Mexico. We can't even get one together, yet everybody is so competent. We need to get real with ourselves and stop fooling ourselves. The prophet says that we are supposed to worship under our own vine and fig tree. That means that you're supposed to be standing under the American came to take you out of your mental slavery. He didn't say, I came to take you out from under the birth certificate fraud. He said, I came to take you out of your mental slavery, because if he could take you out of your mental slavery, then you would know that the whole birth certificate document is null and void from the door.
That's right. That's so
all right,
important.
And if you're looking for somebody to draft up anything for you, that is not this program that the prophet brought. If you're looking for somebody to draft up anything for you, and I'm not saying this to encourage this, I'm just saying, that if you are not wanting to take responsibility for your own affairs, then you might as well go and hire an attorney, because that's what they do. But that's not what this is. Everybody's supposed to be ready, able, and competent to throw it together at the drop. All address the same issue individually as one collective body. We would have millions of people putting in writs about the right to travel. It would have no choice but to buckle that fraudulent program that is being imposed on the people in their private capacity. It would literally buckle that program, because if you did the research, you would comprehend that documentation is being forwarded to the Secretary of Transportation of the United States, or United States Secretary of Transportation, where they're reporting that, you know, why a license has been suspended or revoked, why a car has been taken. Now, all of that documentation is false and fraudulent, because that is only supposed to be applied to corporations that are, or entities engaging in commerce, which ultimately means a chauffeur. That's all it's supposed to apply to. So that means that those documents, they're fraudulent documents being submitted to substantiate federal funding, and those documentation is coming from people in their private capacity. So if the people in their private capacity also notified the Secretary of Transportation that they were compelled under threat, duress, and coercion to either get the license or the registration of, you know, upon pain of injury and possibly death, I would say that 95%, and that's being conservative, of all of those documentation will end up in the trash, and those municipal corporations would be brought up on charges of fraud, genocide, racketeering, human trafficking, invading people's right to contract, and because those municipal corporations are all established under religious orders, they're ministerial officers, ministerial hearing officers. Look up the word ministerial. That's an invasion of your religious rights, because that's a Christian construct, and yet
Can you back up for a second? Because I don't think that, I think you just need to, what you're saying is that they're reporting things to the federal, to the Department of Transportation that are false, assuming that, look, you got to continue to give us money. Look at all these people we're giving tickets to because they violated, when those people aren't even supposed to even have to have the driver's license instrument. Because, okay, but can you explain that it is from the Department of Transportation, therefore it then becomes a federal program, and how the federal program then allows the states to participate, and the states contract out to municipalities? Right. A lot of people don't know that that's how it actually is from Title 49.
That's correct. And the driver's license and the registration program, that's a federal program. The states are allowed to participate. But what most people don't know is that the state contracts to the municipal corporations to administer the federal program. But if the people was to report the misconduct, creation of funds, and the false compelling or the fraudulent compelling of the people to engage in a commercial activity when they're simply going to try, you're just operating your private capacity. If this was to be reported to the Secretary of Transportation of the United States, they would have to stop the funding, and an investigation would be launched if enough people put in, because you just can't write to the Secretary of Transportation, because here's the thing. If you just write to the Secretary of Transportation, all right, because your liberty has been violated. What you're supposed to do if your liberty has been violated is you're supposed to put in a petition for a grievance done to you. That means you're supposed to put in a civil case. If there's no civil case, but you're writing transportation, there's nothing to even substantiate that, okay, you've been violated. Your liberties have been violated. Where is that? The violation of people's liberties is so serious that you're supposed to go to the ends of the earth to preserve it. So you have to pull out all the stuff. This is not trivial. And look, if people would just get it right with the right to travel, all right, the same process that you would use to make sure that your liberties are secured where your right to travel is concerned, you would then move laterally across the board and implement the same process for every area of your life. But the easiest is the right to travel. It's all easy, though, because the Constitution was written to protect all people from the infringement of their liberties by corporations, foreign and domestic. It says that in the Constitution.
But you know what?
They say
you said foreign and domestic.
Liberties.
No.
What was that?
I was just going to say people don't understand foreign and domestic. They think that because what they're doing is foreign to us, that we're the foreigners and that this domestically, this is their home. They forget that this is our home. This is our domicile, and they are the foreigners. So they'll give them stuff and say they're foreign.
Right, but because you have two nations in the same state, foreign is not far away.
That's right.
So when you're doing things, you ought to know this. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of people listening to this broadcast right now. They're just going to listen to this and they're going to run away. They're going to do all kinds of things. You know what? You're going to get into a situation that will be your lesson. Because you're supposed to listen to broadcasts like this. And you're supposed to be listening, whether it's via the internet, the telephone, whether you're sitting in a classroom, you're supposed to have a pen and paper. You're supposed to be jotting down notes. I can bet that there's probably minimum amount of people who are jotting down anything. And we'll download this and listen to it and still not jot down anything. How are you going to know how to come up with a strategy, what to look into, what to research? Do not just listen to what I'm saying. Oh, and he said, and he told you to study. And he told you to research. And he told you to know. See, if you studied, research, and knew, you wouldn't be throwing NE out there to anybody who asked, where did you get that information? NE. NE did the study too. That's why I can tell you. You're supposed to do it as well. Whatever you hear, whatever you learn, you're supposed to go and do the studies and know. You're not supposed to just go from lecture to blog talk and just listen. Oh, I'm going to do that. Oh, I'm going to do that. What are you going to do? Where's your plan? You know, if I'm building a house, I'm going to draw a plan. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to talk to people who have built the house, but from whatever they say, I'm going to do my studies, I'm going to do my research, I'm going to draw up my plan. And I'm going to work from my plan. You don't draw up no plan, who knows where you may end up. All right? And lastly, I'm going to say this and I'm going to yield the floor. I had a conversation. It was so prophetic it was like an epiphany. I got an email from somebody talking about, let me make sure I word this right. They wanted to take the name correction and proclamation and get it notarized and go register it with the county, but they couldn't register the copy. They had to bring the original. And as I swear the Spirit was talking through me because when I read that, I was like on the keyboard, just, oh, no, he isn't. I started typing away. Typed up what I wanted to say and reread it. And I was like, well, damn. Goddamn. These people is trying to do a backdoor birth certificate and don't even get it with the name correction and proclamation.
You said a backdoor birth certificate?
Backdoor. I'm calling it a backdoor birth certificate process with the name correction and proclamation. And the reason I'm calling it a backdoor name correction, birth certificate using the name correction and proclamation is because they haven't even realized that you're doing the birth certificate process all over it. Corporations, the municipal corporations, when they were established, they had a product. They had a few products. One of their products was modern Europeans, and modern Europeans was recorded up in there as cargo. That's where the birth certificate comes from. And like I had said in the past, the vital statistics, what they call now, used to be called the registrar, because you had to register your property. You didn't have to. But if your property ended up somewhere else, somebody else was claiming it. Well, then, I got my registration right here. Now, the birth certificate, when you get that certificate, that's an original document. What's crazy about that is, if you go to the Department of Motor Vehicles, they say, I need to see the originals. They take a look at it, make a copy, and give it back to you. Because the birth certificate is evidence that the original is somewhere. So I'm gonna capture the birth certificate, or you got these people say, well, I need to go and give the municipal corporation a copy of my name correction and proclamation because I need to put them on notice. Putting a municipal corporation on notice is like sending a copy of your proclamation and name correction to Walmart because they are corporations. If we drop the municipal and just leave on corporation, you got corporation. Walmart Corporation, Municipal Corporation. They're both corporations. So now you got this original document with a seal, money. And they say, oh, sure, no problem. We will register you, but we need the original. And they're not even making a copy of the original and giving you back the original. They're taking the original, and then they'll probably give you some kind of certificate, or they'll probably give you a copy of the original, and then stamp on there, certified copy. That's the birth certificate process.
And they try to take the name correction and proclamation and do that. They don't understand that you can give your original to them.
They are doing that. That is the birth certificate process.
Backdoor. And that's why they keep messing with more.
Birth certificate process.
It's crazy. They haven't even read what those documents
and here's the thing. I just want to say this. Here is the thing. In the process that is given to you when you get your mail, let me rephrase that. So I want to be clear. Law is specific. At RB Bay Publications, which the name correction proclamation operates under Great Seal orders under RB Bay Publications. It is not RB Bay Publications. It is Great Seal. But we are allowed to publish under RB Bay Publications. But we are not RB Bay Publications. All right? That process that we promote has specific instructions and specific places that you're supposed to put on notice from a national perspective. Because you're an international people. You're not even dealing when you go and you deal with municipal corporations, you're not even dealing nationally. You're dealing domestically. Because you can't deal with a foreign municipal corporation on American soil nationally because they're not national.
But they're going to take their national documents and have them backdoor them. Yeah. Yeah.
So, the prophet said, if I can just get you to start thinking, you would mess around and free yourself. That's me ad-libbing. You would mess around and free yourself because it's right there. It's all in your face. All in your face. Why you missed it?
That's crazy.
Islam.
I think you laid that out. Oh, my.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Always trying to find some other process. Let me just say this, Ms., and then you can comment. If they would simply read the document, study them so they can until it's inner, outer, overstand them. You know what I mean? Then they would know that that's not what to do. But they're not doing that and listening to other people who come from a commercial, like you had mentioned about commerce. They keep bringing the commercial processes into a national activity. They no matter what you give them, they go and try to find a commercial process, some sort of commercial process to effectuate it, and this is a part of the problem. Like, you can get into commerce if that's what you choose. You can get into contracts if that's what you choose. But go into all of that in your proper person and get the difference between the two. And what you were talking about, enforcing the law and et cetera, they want to, and who these people are, they're really commercial entities. They want to delve into find some sort of commercial process of these commercial entities to try to rest or nest themselves there and think, okay, I'm protected now. No, you're not, because you delved right into the commercial process. So no matter what somebody gives you, they give you, was it pearl? You're going to go and take it and try to figure out how the commercial process of that information, how you can, make it, deal with it from a commercial manner. And that's where the problem rests. It just does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's correct.
That's correct. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
That's what they do all day long. So no matter what you give them, they go and compare it up to what these corporations, these commercial corporations, they always try to figure out, okay, oh, I got this, all right, as if that's not solid enough. That's not the concept. That is the concept, but they don't get it. And then they go and take it and try to figure out how to manipulate it into the commercial thing and screw it all up. And this is why, this thing will get worse before it gets better. It's getting worse before it gets better because all that lives wants to live. They want to continue to use you as their product, because you mentioned earlier they used to have a product. They are a charter. They are a company. But what do they sell? Nothing except for human trafficking. And so they're keeping you into their jurisdiction. No, you're allowing them, let's rephrase that, to keep you into their commercial jurisdiction and sell and buy and all of that. That's what the people are allowed, because there's enough information that everyone should really know the difference by.
You know what? I think that we need to replace this word commercial and commerce. We need to replace that with merchants and merchandise. And then maybe it might click in people's heads. Because if you're not a merchant and if you don't have merchandise, and remember, from a historical place, we as Moors, our merchandise came from Mother Earth. So if you're a merchant, if you ain't got no merchandise, you ain't engaging in commerce, baby. You're engaging in your own human trafficking.
Yes.
Which makes you look retarded, which makes you look totally incompetent.
Right.
Word. True. And you know what? Correlate that. Well, if I could just share my thoughts based off of what was being said, it was a lot that you were speaking on natural law, basically, when you was talking about products from the earth having real merchandise. But previous to that, you were speaking about the birth certificate. And this might sound, left field, but what it really made me think of, and I know some people have been contributing to this concept, but like the curriculum of teaching, we have to upgrade the lessons of I want to say sex education, but in the essence like reproduction education and in the language, how to document. Because I was thinking, like, imagine if everybody today wasn't born with a birth certificate and everybody had a live record of birth, witnessed by, their parents, a family member, a great friend of the family, whatever. This wouldn't even be an argument. Like, it wouldn't even be a discussion, shall I say, about the birth certificate. So what I'm saying is, let's say, the youth, they get groomed to know this knowledge. Now, I don't know if groom is the right word, but I mean, like, really informed, enlightened, and instructed with the knowledge of, and the power of documentation, and creating your own records, because there's a lot of reasons to write rich, going back to what you were saying too. Like, you can't always think that something already written is going to get you out of that particular situation. So it's like, if we really get the essence on how to document these things, you know what I mean? Also, utilizing astrological coordinates. Of course, we've already known this lesson, but, latitude, longitude, earth coordinates, and things of that nature, and make that a part. I'm just thinking, as far as a curriculum, if we did have an institution, that should be a part, because I know that when I was going to school, they called themselves, teaching sex education through the health class, but it was only mandatory to take health class out of 1/4 of the 4 quarters of a school season. You get what I'm saying? So it wasn't emphasized like that. It didn't really go in on the responsibilities of reproduction and things like that. So I was just thinking that, and not that it hasn't been contributed to, but if that's taken more seriously, now and then for the generation subsequent to now in succession, I think that's how we rid that whole concept, if we can stand on de jure law. You know what I mean? That's what came to mind based off of what was being said, and I just wanted to emphasize that. Islam,
yeah, because it's all about family as well, but I don't know. It's just so clear that, I mean, you kind of feel like, all right, well, people are looking for an answer, and they're looking for what we're going to just say, for the lack of a better word, get out of, I hate to say get out of jail card, because that doesn't sound right. Get out of trouble card, or get out, and you're right, not really in any trouble, because, these things that they're saying is, you violated aren't even, they're just stuff policies that they've created that isn't even law. But they're looking for a way where, all right, I'm just going to show them my nationality card. I'm going to let them know that I have proclamation papers, when they don't realize that the nationality card is a brief that expresses your position regarding who you are. It's a lawful brief, actually. And the proclamation papers are to be sent to put certain people on notice. It doesn't matter what they have to say about them, or whether they send back to you or whatever like that. You just did what is called in law. Notice is always a necessity. Law is notice, quite frankly. So you've done that, but now you have to start being who it is you say you are. And again, that's something that can take some time, because if you didn't study, then you're going to find out in a manner in which you may not want to, how much you really do need to study, or what, I won't say study, but that is the right word, how much it is that you need to know. Because as Eve mentioned earlier, if you look up civilian, a civilian is one who's skilled in the law, because you are the law. Manifest. I mean, it's so this is how deep, we'll say, the rabbit hole goes. but you can't even enter into deciphering any of that or ciphering through or living or being who you are if you don't know and if you don't have the correct concept of what all that means. You know, it's or what jurisdiction means. And stop being under the jurisdiction of a corporate entity who, as Annie said it earlier, is not government. I know that they have you thinking that. They have all of us thinking that. That's the big dupe. That's the big fooling even the most elite. That's what it is. So, I don't know. Maybe we should just take some calls now and see if there's any comments or.
Yes, that would be great. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Because it is, it's 11 after 11. So if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, press 1 on your telephone, and we will begin taking callers. Everybody's been listening, so no one has pressed 1 for some time. But this is the time to ask questions. We'll be taking questions right up until 12:20. So we got a good amount of time. We got a little over an hour where we can take questions, comments, concerns, So let's see. Our first caller is caller 979-451. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest New Mexico.
It's long. This is probably a little off subject. I sent in a judicial notice and name proclamation, and I didn't put my thumbprint on it. So I sent in my fee, and I'm sending in another copy tomorrow. I and my wife, and I was just trying to make sure you get that. And my name is Aaron Livingston Bay, and my wife is Desiree Hope Bay. And we already paid our fee. I sent it in on the 15th of November, and I was at the library, and it's Ku Klux Klan library, so I was trying to rush in and get out of there, but I was just trying to get. I'm from Texas, by the way, but
you don't have to have your thumbprint on it. That's not a necessity. That's something you can do, but you don't have to have your thumbprint on it. That's the only reason that you're doing that. But I don't hinder the proclamation, but I did get an email from you earlier today, and told you that the proclamations and the card, identification cards, are two separate things going to two different people. Did you get that email back?
Yes, ma'am, I did get it.
All right. So, all right.
So I'm gonna send that other. Well, I know I made another mistake too, because I was on my straw man. I didn't capitalize the straw man on the other one, so I just redid the whole form again, and I'm just gonna send it to you tomorrow. And I just want to make sure you see that.
You got that, Annie? I sent you the email, so you can respond back to it.
It's not necessary for the nom de guerre to be all in caps either. It's the nom de guerre.
Yeah.
But if you want to do your document, it's a nom de guerre if it doesn't have a title, not because it's in all caps.
That's
okay,
right.
Okay, true. I made a few more mistakes because I didn't want to be around Europeans, so I was just trying to get in and get out, and I was making mistakes with just getting in and getting out.
Let me tell you that there is no such thing as a Ku Klux Klan library. All libraries, regional library was created by us.
True.
Original.
So that's not theirs, that's ours.
That's true, and they stole it. So when I say that, I mean
no, they didn't steal it at all. They didn't steal it at all. It's still there. You went into it.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. But they hate me. They hate me when I go in there though, because they know I'm gaining knowledge on. And
no. See, what they may think or feel, you have no idea, and you know what? You really don't care. Your mission is to get in and get out. That's it.
Right. You're right.
That people who have negative energy should not be relevant to you at all.
Okay.
If you're studying, they're invisible.
Okay. Well, then I'm not even worried about that question. Now, my next question is, I filed a UCC notification of reservation of rights in 2014.
Okay, but why would you you don't need to file a UCC to reserve your rights.
No, I didn't know at the time. I'm just not getting into it if I didn't know. So my question was that, and it was pretty because of their corporation. What I hit them with was on the corporate spectrum under the color of law. So I kind of was thinking that I was using their own laws against them. So when they locked me up, they dismissed my case, and I was telling the judge that these statutes are not real, basically, and I was telling them that if there was an injured party, then place them under the evidence so that I can advocate the matter. And they ended up kicking me out of court twice, and then I went back to court that third day, and they dismissed it. And so I was thinking that it was the reservation of rights paper that done it, but I don't think it was the reservation of rights. I think it was more me confronting them about the falsified jurisdiction, and they couldn't stand the truth, so they actually just kicked it out. They just kicked it out, really. So my thing is so it's not necessary to have the reservation of rights either. It's my birthright as I'm an heir of the state. So
the reservation when you say you did a UCC reservation of rights, what exactly does that mean? Did you write up a writ and file it under some UCC filing something?
Yeah, what I did was I put the USC codes in Title 18, and I told them that, I reserve my rights not to be compelled under any unrevealed contract. And because there's no lawful money, and by it being no lawful money, it's all colorable, which means they distinguish from that which is real. So I was basically, I got it notarized, and then I filed it in the federal court, and then I filed it at the district court, which is the county. And I was basically just thinking that, because I have a right to travel by birthright, and it cannot be merely converted to a privilege. With me having that reservation on file, I don't have to have I don't have a license or license plate on any of my motorcycles or cars, and I was carrying that paper around with me everywhere I go, and they would harass me, and then they would take me to jail, and then by me having that paper on file, they would let me out. But I was staying there for like 3 or 4 days or 7 days, and I would be fighting. But under the United States Constitution, Title 18, it says that under conspiracy of rights and deprivation of rights under color of law, those two constitutional rights, what happens is it's $250,000 per 15 minutes. So I was trying to draw up a suit on them for $192 million because I had stayed in there for 8 days, and I don't know if I'm going to be granted that or not, but I was basically trying to use the colorable law against them, and that's where the deprivation against rights comes from, where the deprivation of rights under color of law come in at, because all of it's fake and all of it's fraud.
When you say, first of all, when you say you're trying to use their colorable laws against them, is that what you said?
Yeah,
that's what he said.
What's the colorable law? Because Title 241 and 242 is not colored.
No, what I meant by color, I mean that it's no lawful money. So when there's no lawful money, that means that I'm only getting locked up for the money, and I operated out of common law, and it's only a crime when it's an injured party or damaged property. So the other laws are made up. They're just policy. And so when I say colorable, I mean like just policy is just something that they arbitrarily make up. Yeah. So the 242, no, those are real. Those are our contract. We contract to the U.S.
All right.
So,
but the 241 and 242 is in harmony with the American Constitution, 1791. That's why they're not colorable.
Right. Those are the real ones.
And the only people that are required to exchange silver and gold, I know a lot of people be tripping. I got to have silver and gold because, when the money system collapsed, I need to be able to exchange. People the ones that's holding the people hostages, these corporations, they're the ones that's demanding Federal Reserve notes, which is by definition an IOU. It's not money.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
But the only people that's required by law to exchange silver or gold to clear a debt is a corporation. It's never been the people. The people can exchange in any species they so choose or not.
Okay.
Right.
Now,
that's the fraud.
Okay.
That's the fraud.
Oh, that's
They're violating the Coinage Act of 1792, which talks about the only acceptable forms of money for corporations. See, people get it twisted because they don't understand that the American Constitution was written to put in certain checks and balances so that the liberties of the people would never, ever again be violated. So it wasn't written for people. It was written to secure the liberties that people already have from corporate infringement. So what needs to happen is people need to go to the Black's Law 4th edition dictionary, look up the definition of liberty. It's that.
Okay.
Then you will get some idea of you'll get some idea of just how much the liberties of the people are violated on a daily basis.
Right. Daily. I'm with you.
All right. So, and I didn't hear you mention anything about UCCs. I just heard you mentioning how you file things in a federal, sound like a miscellaneous filing under federal and possibly state and maybe somewhere else.
Well, the UCC, it's the Reservation of Rights is the Uniform Commercial Code 1-308, which is the Reservation of Rights. And
but here's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing. See, you don't necessarily need to use UCC jargon to reserve.
Okay.
You can simply write all rights reserved, and that's it.
That's true. That's absolutely correct. You're absolutely right.
That's it.
You're absolutely right. It's like a corporation. If you're
engaging, if you're a merchant and you're engaging in some sort of merchant transaction and or exchange, then and you're doing that with people outside of your family, then you might want to utilize those UCC 1-207/1-306-1-103. You might want to utilize those. But when you're dealing with family, and this is what a lot of Moors don't get, when you're dealing with when you're dealing within the family, you're safe. So you don't necessarily need to be trying to, I'm not going to sign my autograph because I don't want them to lift it. You're dealing with family. We don't do that.
Right.
Yeah. All kinds of, you don't need to be. If you're protecting yourself from your family, then you got a problem.
Then you got a problem. You're right.
Yeah, because I'm glad you put that up. Because some people send in their cards and they'll sign their autograph, which is supposed to be almost like a calligraphy. It's supposed to be beautiful. Autographs are like you said, Annie, something that we took much pride in. Put that deal away. So you clear on who we are. And so some people will do it. They'll scribble it, and then they'll write in all rights reserved, and we already have that on the card. So I have to step back and say, listen, can you please give me an autograph that is free of any other background stuff, and you don't need all rights reserved on your signature to your family, or sometimes they'll send it in with UCC1, all that stuff on their signature. And we're like, wait a minute, this is a national card. This is not a commercial card, so don't put UCC1 anything on your autograph to national and lawful brief, which is the card.
Right. Okay, let me ask you this. I got two questions. Now, at the DMV...
All right, but You're gonna have to keep them brief because we got a lot of other people with questions.
Okay. I'll probably just you answered most of my questions anyway, so just take the other callers.
You know what? Right. I just wanted to. If he was mentioning the DMV, I just want to know only because someone earlier today. I just want to know this in brief, and then maybe we can email. You can email the rest. Are you talking about going there and taking yourself off the records at the DMV or something like that?
Well, yeah, that, and then if I was to get another driver's license with my nationality, because I'm listed as chattel, basically I'm black. I'm labeled. So I'm trying to take, right. I already know I don't need a driver's license, but my thing is I wanted to remove myself from the DMV, and if I were to get another driver's license, you say like if I wanted to drive trucks or something, so if I was to get another driver's license, could I was going to have to put the UCC or all rights reserved on that signature on that card. You see what I'm saying? The all rights reserved signature.
All right. There's different process for that. If you're a CDL driver, or you are actually driving, carrying cargo passengers or whatever like that, then the question would be, do I put my ill and beta? Do I just go ahead and do business under whatever entity that I want to with that? That's the question. There's a lot of ways of skinning that cat on that. So why don't we email with exactly the situation, and we'll just move on, and we'll answer that later because we've been really thinking about that.
All right.
And also know that if whatever you do, that the driver's license instrument is exactly what it is. It's for those who are driving for hire, carrying cargo, passengers, etc. It is not an identification, and everybody's going to be real clear with that in a minute because it's happening now where they're not going to be able to be using them as identification at airports. So let's email back and forth on your best strategy for that. All right?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Peace and love.
Peace.
All right. Peace and love.
Peace.
Peace.
All righty. Our next caller is Brother Bakari. Peace and love.
I'm supposed to email him something. I forgot to email him. All right. Is he there?
Brother Bakari.
Yes. I'm sorry. I had my headphones on.
Muted.
Yeah.
Right?
I was actually listening to you guys on the web, off my laptop. And so there's a delay from the laptop to the cell phone. So but I was getting in. I was listening to what you were saying, and I was a little stunned. But thank you very much, Islam. Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
Yeah. So I just wanted to let you guys know, particularly you, Annie, that I'm trying. I'm giving it a shot, and it's not even a shot. I should say it's just a little slow. So what I'm talking about is while I was looking up the definition of ministerial act, which is on page 1148 of the Henry Campbell Black's Laws Dictionary. And I mentioned ministerial act because you mentioned it earlier on in the show, and I was shocked at what I saw. So I thought,
what you do?
Yeah, and so I was like, damn, it's the rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper and deeper. It's like it's like there's no bottom to it, You just got to snuff it out of existence. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. And it says, one which a person performs in a given state of facts in a prescribed manner in obedience to the mandate of legal authority without regard to or the exercise of his own judgment upon the propriety of the act being done. Oh my God! And you know, and we got these people that are attacking your site, this site, RV Bay Publication, and this show, and other offshoots of the broadcast for you know, putting out bogus information.
Yeah.
And you know, and so this is what's going on. I mean, you know, people are just have no clue, and they've just like submitted and given up all of their rights, and you know, but and they can still go back and say, you know what? Well, it wasn't writing, you know, but they want to listen to some of these individuals, you know, who decide that they're sheiks and that they are, you know, men of well renowned and so on, you know, when they haven't done anything, and so it's just really sad. But anyway, thank you very much. You know, great show. And I wanted to let you know too that I also looked up. I found something else just in the process of, you know, looking that other definition up. And I would just have, you know, I'd just like to mention on page 410 of Henry Campbell Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, if you would look on the right side of the page, it has under sub-definition for corporate and corporation, domestic and foreign. And so, you know, that is very interesting. It's like all of these various initiatives, you know, keep telling us on every level of our existence that there is this thing called status, and there is this thing called corporations, and then you know your and that relate to your domicile. And so, and these terms, domestic and foreign, are very, very specific. And so this is, you know, people need to read these things, but you know, it's just sad that individuals keep falling for these guys. And I was happy to just call in and, you know, just say that, because my energy is in such a good place right now that I don't want to get ticked off. And I want to, yeah, you know, because
well, you so better not go and check out those Mantis View recordings then.
No, I've already, you know, did a rebuttal to that, you know, and sent it off to, you know, Cujo. So mine's all already on YouTube, and you know, and it was, you know, it wasn't.
So Oz was good.
You like that?
I said, yeah, you did a good rebuttal. I saw that, and I still got to get my subscriptions right. But I also noticed you and the brother Mario uploaded the table talk class last night or today. I definitely want to watch that too. That seems pretty interesting. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I put in a lot of work on that one. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the entire process of collaborating with another active Moor, and you know, just a good person. You know, just a good person, and it was a good process for me to go through at that point in time, and I really appreciate first and foremost you know, mentioning that. And certainly, I really appreciate working with Brother Mario. It was enlightening. It was fun. And it's like something that I'll never forget. You know, every time that I've worked with another Moor to generate one of these videos, it's been just like a ray of sunshine. And thank you, very much for that. And I think there was something else that I wanted to say, but I think I have forgotten it. But that's it.
I have something I was supposed to, that I told you I was going to email to you, and I assure you that I will email it tonight in a few minutes. That was dealing with your question about domicile, I think. And what I'm going to email you will clear it up real clear, real easy. Yeah. Even though anybody can look in Black's Law, I don't have the page number, but and look up domicile, national domicile, quasi-national domicile, municipal domicile, and clearly see. But sometimes, when you draw things out and, really, really tie in domicile, as you mentioned earlier, to status, and which is a state, same thing, and then tie that to the land that is your state, and then understand: are you domiciled under a national domicile, which has no subdivisions at all, or are you domiciled under a quasi-national domicile, which is all the states? You name any one of them, they're all quasi-national, or municipal, which is neither quasi-national nor is it national. It's really a Roman venue, quite frankly. Like that. And so when you get those concepts and get status and inheritance and ancestral estate, when you can put it all together, it becomes real clear. So, and then you also recognize why we're part and parcel, not part and partial, but part and parcel. That explains it completely. Right, then you go to chapter 47 of the 7 Holy Quran, which all MSPAs go by, and you recognize where that estate is and the heritage that you'll gain back, your heritage in your lost estate. And you look at those where that is slated, and you realize that you're standing in your national domicile on or upon your national domicile, and all these other scenes, people, entities, including union states, known as whatever states they call themselves today, are occupying upon your national, your ancestral estate. And then that helps you to begin to realize why you cannot be a member/citizen of any of these quasi-national or municipal domiciles. Makes it so clear, as to why you can be. And, if you say you're national and this is your ancestral state, there's no way that you can ever be a member or domiciled in any national, quasi-national or municipal domicile. And then you realize that when you say that you are, you just clip your own civil liberties and your own rights by doing so. So then that ties you into understanding why you have to correct your own status that relates to lawful matters as well. But I'm going to send it to you tonight, all right?
I really appreciate it. Thank you so very, very much. And great show. Love you guys.
All right.
All righty. We got a few more callers, but if there are more people with questions, comments, or concerns, you can press 1 on your telephone dial, and we'll take your call in the order that they are received. So, wait a minute, did I miss somebody? Hold on. All right. Caller 214-565, you're live on the air. Please state your affiliation at Northwest Mexico. Islam?
Islam, can you hear me?
Islam, yes we can.
This is Abdul Malik Shabir Shakur Bey calling from Northwestern Mexican Territory, Texas Republic. Islam family, once again, to hear y'all voices. Rod Morale, Ms. Ram. What's up, Ms. Ram?
What's good, brother? You all right? Everything well?
I'm still here and on the phone with y'all. Anthony is my brother. In the spirit and the truth. Cujo. But I know he's listening and all is well. Peace and blessing. Another great show that y'all having tonight. Continue to let the people know that what is on site is from the spirit. That our foremothers and our forefathers are the key to civilization. Illustrious Prophet Noju Ali had the torch to uplift fallen humanity. And I give the key, I say, to RV Bay Publication and the staff and the crew that helping uplift fallen humanity. I relieve the flow. Islam.
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 Nobles. Islam.
All right, our next caller 347-489. You're live on the air. Please state your affirmation.
This is Winston Demetrius O'Bay from Northwestern Mexico.
All right.
Peace, Noble. What's going on?
Hello?
Islam.
Okay, I keep hearing echoes in the back, so I'm thinking other people are trying to chime in while I speak. I just wanted to say about the corrections in these quasi states. As I used to work for corrections in Virginia, and they lease out prisoners within a tri-state area, and they do it here as well as in the Northwestern Mexico Corporation of New York. So every state they do that. And I also wanted to chime in on the those who are being dismissive to RV Bay publications. They are not in the understanding that RV Bay is Noble Drew Ali and reincarnated, because he's put forth the truth. All you do is put forth truth and facts. You're not putting out anything that is dismissive for the people to be harmed or injured.
Right.
So you understand? So I just want to say, every day I give praise to Allah first, but I also send out positive energy and vibrations to the family. RV Bay, to all active Moors, because every Moor is not active and every Moor is not standing upright and fearless.
That's right.
So, and I haven't spoken to my family in a minute, so I'm glad to be able to speak to y'all. And it's just a beautiful thing. And this broadcast is, as always, a beautiful broadcast. Islam, peace and love to the family. I yield the floor.
Hey, I just got to say this. So he just brought to mind something that was also said about, traveling, right, and using the road card when you give it to your child. It's dangerous. But yet, what's more dangerous than going out and having policy highwaymen come and kill you sometimes and give you bodily injury, whether you have the instrument road, even if you had their instrument, that's what they do. So it's our people.
That's right.
I know. That's why you brought that out real well.
They shooting people down with the licensed instrument.
Yeah, people
reaching for it, trying to show it to them. Nah, you can't even get that off. Like reaching for a license, trying to show it to them.
What's dangerous than policy enforcers out there, they're policy enforcers, but they really lawfully, they are highwaymen. Look it up in Black's Law. Accosting travelers. It doesn't say accosting drivers.
You know what? They're highwaymen, mercenaries, because, and I'll tell you why, because you people, you can hire them to do things for you. So that's gun for hire.
Yeah. The blue coats.
Mm-hmm.
They
can be bought.
Yeah.
They can be bought.
Yeah.
You can hire them. Look, you ever go to like a social event or something, a parade or something like that? They're hired to work the parade.
Yeah.
Or they're hired to stand guard at that event. That they're not getting paid through their job. They're getting paid through whoever is sponsoring that event. That's gun for hire.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They call it moonlighting. Oh boy. Caller 410-921. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Maxim.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Peace and love, yeah.
I'm new to this. I was actually introduced maybe about 2 months ago. And this is a brand new world for me. I'm really totally blown by, all of the information that I've been reviewing. So my question is, statement by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, get rid of your slave name. Do all business with a new name. So basically I would like if you all could, pretty much give me an idea of what is the proper name that I should utilize. Like there's Bay, there's ELL, and then there's DEYJ, and then there's Ali, and then there's AL. I'm basically trying.
Ilabag, because we are fundamentally lawmakers and law enforcers. So if you the Ali Al they are really reserved for attainment by degrees. For our family, they have specific things to them, meanings to them, and attainment by degree. But if you can't be an ill or a bay, fundamentally, there's no way you can take on any other of those. Those are not really names, they're titles. So if you are now currently your nom de guerre that many people call straw name, if you're Sharon whatever, you could just put an ill or bay as you come into the transition and use that as you navigate publicly with that. A name is, as you said earlier, Annie, it's a nom de guerre or a name, which is a corporate tag, because it doesn't have the ill or bay. Once you put the ill or bay, then you just put yourself into your proper title. You put your title on there, which people say last name, but you put your title, ill or bay. The bay really is like the law enforcers. Ills are lawmakers. I don't really want to say that the ill is necessarily the woman and the woman is not the bay, or vice versa, but ill or bay, that's it. You can't come in as an ill, you have to use, so that's why that's all that's really used, the ills and the bays. So choose one of those two. And then as far as changing your name, correcting your name, and choosing your appellation, some people want to go totally away from and into some spiritual appellation, or they might go into a name book, look up what your parents called you. You'll find that it's rooted in either what we call Moorish Latin. Most name books are Latin, or Arabic, or something like that. That is your choice to do. Or you can just leave what you have and just put the Ilabay and begin your traversing into being who you say you are. And I would like to add that some people, including us on the line, may have a longer spiritual, if you will, appellation, but you don't even have to tell people what that is. In other words, just choose something that you will navigate with. Just as long as you have your ill thing on there. Yes, ma'am.
And then I have another question. I was wondering if you could elaborate more on XREL.
Very good question, and it goes along with your question that you're asking about not using you do all new business with your new name. All right. XREL is actually the lawful position that the prophet was talking about when he said, don't give up your old name. Because he says it and don't give it up. Anytime your nom de guerre, or what people call straw, comes up in any of your affairs, the proper way to handle it is called XREL. That's the lawful position to be taken. It's XREL, which is ex relation in the law book. You know, it says ex relation, meaning ex relation. You have an ex relation to what you were called before as a name, and that means, if you look up that definition, that you have information regarding that particular name, but that is not you. You got it? Okay. So if you walked into a place like, say, so-called courtrooms, which are really hearings, and they call you and say you're Sharon Smith, and they say, Sharon Smith, you have to say, no, I am Sharona whatever it is, XREL Sharon Smith, and has a lawful position. You don't have to argue about who you are not, or you could just take the position that some people, after they've gone through identity moratorium, because you have a right to change your appellation whenever you want to. You also have a right to do business at any name you wish to. If you want to be employed, do business, the whole bit. All of that we give you in the paper that we include when we send the card. So, you can just say, no, I am whatever you correct your appellation to now, and eventually all that other old stuff, you handle those affairs, and you make sure that all that is corrected or just not utilized, or whenever it comes up, just say XREL. You ain't got to explain nothing. It's a lawful position. I have information, and that's it. Some people don't even XREL. Well, you have to XREL if it comes up, because you want to make sure they know that's not you. But some go through full identity moratorium, as you call it, Ms., and say, no, I am who I say I am, or whatever like that. And I have changed or corrected, my appellation. It doesn't refer to me.
So is that what in turn put me in a position where I'm at proper person?
Absolutely.
Because I've corrected my name?
Yeah, you have to. The Ill of Bay is the title to the ancestral estate, so it has to go on there. Because that's just status. Yes.
And so once that is done, and of course I study more, would I then be at that point eligible to get the national identification card, or is it more to that than just applying?
Well, let me just say this, and then you have a comment. Wait a minute. Let me just say this about the card, and then you can make a comment. You will not be able to get a national identification card unless you have the Ill Bay on there. Then you just have to start being who you say you are, which requires study. So I just wanted to say that. Go ahead, Ms.
Okay.
No, I was just going to say it's all. No, you good.
All right.
I was just trying to say it's 99% mental. You know what I mean? If not 100%. You know what I mean? But most of it is mental. When you come to that place in your mind where you say I am who I say I am, like you know thyself like that, and you're like, I don't need, a pilgrim to affirm that. Like, I know who I am and why I claim who I am. Then everything falls in place. Then the paperwork has life. because you know what I mean? So the main thing is to get in your proper person. That's a big portion of that is mental. It's not necessarily just the paperwork. The paperwork is the claim, but the mind state, the mentality, is the life force behind it. So you have to know, you know what I mean? And then everything else is vibrating on the same wave. Like it's harmonic when you know. Yeah.
Okay, that's the age of the Aquarius, correct?
Age of knowing.
Absolutely.
I thank you all for your time, and this is actually my first time tuning in, and I'll be back. Thank you so much for the knowledge. I appreciate you.
All right, we appreciate you. Listen, we thank you, but the universe thanks you even more. Islam.
Peace and blessings.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Yes. All right, so let's see. Now, this is our last caller, but we still have 30 more minutes, so if there is anyone who has a question, comment, or concern and would like to address it, press 1 on your telephone dial. And, before I take this last caller, like I said, we still have 30 minutes left to this broadcast. I just want to let everyone know there is 2 numbers that you can call into the broadcast. 425-565201 is the one number that's going to be phased out. The other number is 319-527-6751. So that, I believe that number, the 319 number, is eventually going to be a permanent number. They are changing carrier, all right? So somebody also told me that they called in, and I haven't experienced this, and if anyone has, please can you send an email to MHHS Eyes Wide Open. If you have called in and on any of the old numbers, or they said the line was full, and if you want to listen, you would pay.
What?
If anyone has ever heard that, somebody told me
called
in and
we gotta get
I
the
don't
new
know
number
what number.
everywhere.
Let us know, please, if that happens. Please make a note of what number you call and send an email to mhhseyeswideopen@gmail.com. Let us know what number you called and what was said, because, and it's not confirmed. I'm just putting it out there because, trying to be proactive. It's no cost for anybody to call in and listen. All right? There is no cost for anybody to call in and listen. We have a certain number of lines. Once those lines are full, then you have to go and listen via the internet, and that is free. So if anyone has experienced that, please send me an email, mhhseyeswideopen@gmail.com, and please let us know what number you called and that was said, because it might have been our original number, which I believe was a 347 number, and that number it's from a different carrier, and it is going to be phased out. So one of the reasons they might be getting phased out is because they're trying to charge people. So no one should be charged to call in and listen.
We created the number we was doing it on. They try to take the buzz with the number we was doing it on. I said they probably try to take the buzz with the number we was doing it on. Start charging people to tune in after we cleared it up.
And look, cause people to start rumoring that we're charging, but I don't think that's what the platform is doing. The platform is going to a different carrier, and so what I'm seeing now, and they're choosing a different carrier. What we've got to do is I got to change all the printing on the on the site and on the little cards that I send out. I have got to change that number and give out the new number, because what's happening is if they're going to a different carrier, the old carrier, like you said, is taking that number. And they're trying to charge it because that's a hot number, as it has been. And now we have people that may be calling it and saying, oh, yeah, you know, it makes it says now they're charging you to listen. And that's not what's happening. But, you know, I just got to change all of the printed literature and all of we got to do. See, you know what? If it had been more succinct and clear with us what they were doing, we could have been ahead of the game and done it. But it happened in such a way where they warned us that they were possibly going to change, but they never really said, okay, it's actually changed. You see? So, but that's okay. We'll get on top of it, and I'll make sure I change everything on the site with that number and all my printed material.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll put a number.
I also want to let everyone know that Sister Carew will be doing Wednesday class, and the subject matter is health. The doors open at 6:30. Class begins at 7:30. So Sister Carew will be doing the class tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow is Wednesday, and we'll be there the following Wednesday.
So make sure if you're in the area, you stop in at the National Theater and check out the program.
Oh, hold on, before you do that, because some people miss the class because they have now moved us downstairs, not inside of the theater on the third floor, but on the floor level where that Dianetics used to be or something. So where you don't even have to enter into the theater, just go to the left of the door, and that glass, you'll see the glass and you'll see the class. That's where we've been giving the class now while they're doing repairs on the third floor or what have you. So some people walk right past and don't realize it, or they don't even walk past. They go up into the theater and they don't see us there. I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
That we're downstairs outside the thing. All right.
So what do you think about that? Moor's been basically took over the old Scientology building. And
I know.
It's technically not the National Black Theater.
Hello. I know. Technically it's not.
I never used the word. I never used that word. I always call it the National Theater.
Me too.
I put it in quote unquote.
That's all it is the National Theater. If I just gonna be anything, it's well, you know what? Once you say national, by default, you're talking Moorish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say we got a couple more callers. Caller 805-921. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation. At Northwest Mixon.
Yes, this is Brother Azad Aframbe.
All right.
Wow.
Yes, awesome show. I haven't been able to speak for a while. But I was going in on or listening to Brother Miz's the part 1 and part 2, and it was very very informing. I posted on my Facebook. I'm telling you, man, this thing is crazy, very very crazy, man, on what's going on. But I didn't want to. I mean, we'll hop on that one thing. But I wanted to speak to that thing what Mother was just talking about. Where she was talking about what she said at one time before. She was talking about how they erase things from, as far as in like codes and ordinance and all the stuff that they've been putting on the internet. So as she was talking about the national, the national ID, I was, just thumbing around on the internet, and I went to something that was UCC 8, and it was talking about nationality and alien or something. So I went in and I clicked, and all of that stuff is erased. I mean, it's like you click on it and you can't find any of that stuff, and it's like really crazy. It's really crazy that they are.
You know what? You're absolutely correct. You're talking about United States Code Title 8, I think it is. And guess what? I have a copy of that because you're right. It talked about aliens. It talked about citizens. It talked about nationals. And I didn't know, Raj, you probably don't remember, but a couple of years ago, I did a class on, it was either let's talk about the straw or issues of the state. And we read, and I read that.
It's on the site, Moore's Hutchinson History School, please. Let's talk about the straw. It's archived there. Go ahead.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that.
That's number 10. That's number 10, yes.
Yeah. And I read from that because in there, it says something like if you're found on the if you're found abandoned on the land, then the United States of America Corporation will claim you. And it says in the language. But back when we did that, we were trying to bring it to people's attention that they're dealing in terms of fictitious entities. Today, I'm not sure if I would go that route, because if I am a flesh and blood being and I'm not competent because I'm underage, and my mother, for whatever reason, abandoned me on the land, that still doesn't change my nationality.
Right.
No, it doesn't. And another thing that a lot of people are not aware of is that there was the United States of America under the United States is a signatory on the United Nations document, right? So that means that they had a declaration, and I'm calling it a declaration. It might not be the correct wording, but the United Nations put out a declaration that every government entity, church, school, synagogue, temple, they all have to tell the people who they are. So this notion where, if you don't know that you're Negro, colored, black, then they can use you to generate finance. No, because they were all given this order from the United Nations to tell all the people who they are. That's not now, and that doesn't mean they're supposed to just tell the Moors. They're supposed to tell modern Europeans as well. For example, the Moors are not Negro, colored, and black, just like the modern Europeans are not white. And they're supposed to be telling them that. Islam.
Right. Well, wait a minute. But when you say they're supposed to be telling them that, is that in the Title 8 situation?
Saying because they're signatory to the United Nations, they can't use that. These people are just abandoned property, like they don't have a nationality, because a lot of people like to say their brand is Negro, colored, black, African American. Even when modern Europeans are branding themselves as white, that's a brand, because everybody knows that the white is not talking about a color. But white is not a nationality either, just like black is not a nationality. So you can't use Title 8 as it was, which is probably why it's born, because it was very tough. But I have a copy of it. I have a copy of that.
Well, you know what that means? That means that since they took it off for the people to see it, and you have a copy, we're going to have to, I don't know how many pages it is. We're going to have to figure out how to get it to the people.
They got rid of it, and what they put in its place, if I'm not mistaken, like a lot of that is gone. And what they put in, what you will find as a portion of a replacement of that is the Real ID Act.
Yes. Yep.
And the Real ID Act, we still have to make sure we stay in our lane on that too, because
if you look remember we had a sister call in because we did a class on. Or we did a broadcast on the Real ID Act when it was presented, because somebody called in all a flutter. Oh, they're coming with the real ID. Oh my God, Moors beware. So we went and got it, and we looked it over, and we did a broadcast on it. And a sister called in. And she actually found additional information where who the Real ID Act is for, who has to participate, and who is non-obligatory, and people in their national, people who have declared their nationality. That's not just Moors. It's modern Europeans as well. You declare your nationality. The Real ID Act does not apply to you.
Isn't that interesting? So what are they saying? What are we saying? We're saying, listen, Moors, stop making yourself citizens/members of these corporations, because that applies to them, not you. Which means the Times are saying, as we know, it's time to worship under your own vine and fig trees. And it's nation time, and even modern Europeans who are aware of this, they got to say their nationality as well. Everyone does. That's what it is. But, we, like we said, we got it all confused. We want to say our nationality, say we're national, and then figure out how to do quasi-national stuff. And so they got something for people who still don't know. They'll create whatever, and if you fall for it only because of your lack of knowledge, then you give it life.
Oh yeah. So the reason that, like I said, I know you are going in, and I know that y'all got other callers, and I don't want to hold everything up. But the thing is, it all correlates, Ms., in what you put together. That's why I didn't, it's so much that we could talk about, because at the end of the day, when you all talked about the real ID Act, that goes right into these cats that's doing all this crazy stuff, talking about having a driver's license and all this stuff, and it clearly states. I mean, as I'm reading this information, I'm like, all this stuff is being revealed to me. I'm like, this is crazy, that they would even push what they're pushing and then not even understand the dynamics of what's about to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that this is time where the nationals should be like super rising up, standing on their nationality, because there's a lot of people who saying like, nah, because if you're gonna give me a card where quote unquote states are sharing the information in the databases, that's like they said, you could call it, effectively. They said it would effectively be the equivalent of a national identification card. Not actually a national identification card, but effectively that's what it would be. So it's like even that still doesn't apply. You know what I mean? Because now you're talking about a multitude of...
Because, well, that doesn't really apply because, see, if we go back to the driving instrument, because that's from a federal level, and it is supposed to be for people who are operating in commerce. And it originally, this whole thing started off when the trains were injuring the people. That's how it started off under Interstate Commerce Act. That was in 1887. And then, the trains started, they was building these big luxury liner trains, and they were abusing the people. So under that, these, and it's not the state that's passing the information, it's the Department of Motor Vehicle, which is a federal program, right? So all these Department of Motor Vehicles that people are seeing, that, they are funded by a federal program. Like I said, the states get to participate, which means that they're administering the program. And a lot of the offices are being shut down because it's coming to light that, first of all, you're imposing this program on the wrong people, the wrong group of people. So they've been losing the finance that they used to receive because this information is coming to light. Then on top of all of this, they're trying to impose a state identification card on people who are descendants of Africans who can't be members of the Union State. None of them. So those identifications are toxic, simply because they were forced on a people that can never be members of any state. So they're getting hit really bad. So now when you pull back, where do these police get information from? They get it from the Department of Motor Vehicles. The Department of Motor Vehicles that's local to each of these union states, even though it says state of Connecticut Department, or state of Connecticut, state of New York, state of Florida, state of California, Department of Motor Vehicles. Department of Motor Vehicles is a federal program. The states are given the privilege of participating, and what they're supposed to be doing is they're supposed to be gathering and sharing information on their commercial licensed, registered drivers and motor vehicles, and that's it. And that is absolutely correct, because the whole thing was put in place to protect the people, not to compel the people to become a part of a commercial process, thereby giving the look as though, they got all this commerce going on big time. That's why fraudulent reports talking about the economy look like it's turning around. Yeah, because you classify all these people as people who are engaging in commerce. Just because I got a registered automobile doesn't mean that I am engaging in commerce, but because they have misclassified the people, it looks like you got good commerce going on. Look at all these commercial transactions, commercial vehicles. You got all these people with these commercial identifications. Y'all are doing good. No, you're not. That's a trick. That's a trick.
Mm-hmm.
It's fraudulent. It's actually tampering with information. It's falsification of records done under a federal program.
Oh, so that's going to also be their fault if we continue, because that they can be charged with that. All those reports, right? No wonder they're fighting to the end and trying to get all they can before they fall on their ass, because they're getting ready to fall for real.
And then you got some of these municipal corporations trying to interject their own identification cards in the midst of all of that getting canceled and not acceptable.
Yep.
Because here's the thing that people need to look at. In a lot of times, in some places, the driving instrument is good for 5 years, right? 5 years. If I have an instrument tech that's supposed to be good for 5 years, but in 1 year it's no longer good according to the federal guidelines, then I should get back some finance.
No, they're going to offer this.
Right, I should get back some finance. I don't care if I'm getting back 10 cents. I want it.
It's over for them. It's over. Hey, listen, it's over, and you still have some Moors with feathers on talking shit about, the driver, you don't have a driver's license, that's against the law. I mean, so I take your TikTok and you can show the people just where you are.
Yeah, Morisco's.
That's
Morisco's. Converters. I don't even think that they're actually doing it purposely or knowingly. I just think it's their
trust me, they are.
There may be campaigns.
No, they really are. Like, no, it is intentional. Like, it's a difference. It is intentional. And if you look at the paper trail, you can see it's been kind of planned out. But the thing is, these people they don't deserve no attention, but that's another story. But there's certain things that have already been said, and it had to be rebutted. Concepts had to be corrected. But no, they know exactly what they're doing, because Cujo came on there and told them brought these things up. You know what you're implying people in? That's serious stuff. And they try to act like it wasn't nothing. You know what I mean? Like, no. Like, it's nothing moreish about what they're doing. Even down to chapter 25, Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. They're trying to say that Corinne Gaines is Moor's fault and all of this. Like, totally blind eye on everybody else who got murdered. You know what I mean? Even down to Mansour Ball Bay, who was a card-carrying Moor Science Temple of America member.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying to you? Like, who? So was that the MST of A's fault? That Mansour Ball Bay got shot down? Come on, let's be for real. You know what I'm saying? Let's be for real. It is a war going on outside. Anybody who is acting like it's not is in denial to an extent. Because it's not like, you got it where, they dropping bombs from the airplanes and things like that. Like, no. You know what I mean? We're looking at the residual aspects of a conquered people. You know what I mean? Thus goes your Moriscos. So they still out there. Everybody didn't bounce back from that national loss like that. There's still slaves in their minds. These are Moriscos who've accepted the Christian baptism and law. Real fact. And if you listen to how they're speaking, it's intentional. That's all I'm saying. So I yield the floor to Islam.
All right. Look, it's 22 after. We got 3 more callers. And I'm hoping that we can get these 3 calls in. Caller 901-734, you're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Maxim. Caller 901-734.
Islam. Can you hear me? Yes, this is Taymullah Bay in the Memphis Corporation of Northwest Maxim. I was I'm referring to Mario, brother Mario.
Oh yeah.
I was.
Yes,
Yes, I was calling about I have a CDL license. I recently got my identification card, and I was trying to see if do I need to correct my CDL license, and then or just keep it the same since it's old business. I remember you saying. You could, in your new appellation, for new business and keep the old name, the start name for your old business. So that was my question.
All right. Yeah, somebody else has
business is not started by the name of the business per se. Business is started by who and how you stand.
Okay.
So
what you saying?
So there's not right now. Right now you're in study mode. So whenever, because if right now you need that insurance to continue doing what you got to do for yourself and your family. So when you go to sign the new contract, you sign it using your free national appellation, reserving all your rights. That's it.
Okay.
Right. It's the signature, so therefore that old is really an entity, but you are the proper person with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the key is to take the necessary time to study and know. All right? Even if you have to renew it as it was, just to do that and put all rights reserved, because you need to be able to present your position upon a challenge. So if you're not ready, don't let nobody force you into taking a premature position that you're not going to be able to defend.
Islam.
But you can reserve your rights. You can, even if you don't put an ill or bay on it, you can always reserve your rights.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
All right.
it. And peace to your family. All right.
Peace, man.
All right. Now, the caller 352509, your line's on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Mexico.
Islam family, this is Zamiel Bey. Wonderful show, as usual. And just calling to chime in. Wow. It's almost as if we don't really get it. And harking back to the historical record, following the Civil War, the war was over. And there were certain of the family that didn't know that the war was over. And based on that historical fact, many of the family now that are known to themselves as Negro, Black, and Colored celebrate a holiday called Juneteenth.
Yeah.
For the family that's listening, if you go and check the historical records, read what was actually read to them on that day after the war had been over, and they didn't know that the war was over. They thought the war was still going on. This is where I see us as a people. It has fallen, but we don't get it yet. Even though the historical records and the congressional records tell us, Senadia, we still haven't gotten it yet. Even though we've gotten reports from Canaan Land where they weren't accepting Federal Reserve notes, we still haven't got it yet. Even though there's reports from Canaan Land that over 300 targets closed, we still haven't gotten it yet. And even though 3 months after the Olympics that was held, Rio de Janeiro, check out their economic condition right now. We still haven't gotten it, that it's over yet. But this is the hub. And if you know anything about a wheel, everything is swirling around us, and a lot of times it's difficult for us to see because we are in the middle of it all. But family, trust and believe is over. It's over. It's over. Life is like a seesaw. And when they're falling, don't get scared, don't get nervous, because the fall of the falsehood is the rise of the truth. Moors, get ready. Study, study, study. It's all time.
It's long. It's long.
Well, you know, we got like 1 minute, not even, less than 1 minute. The broadcast is going to go down. And let's see. I just want to let everyone know that, let's see, we'll be back here tomorrow for the Karoo, and then next Tuesday, and we'll be back here. And then Wednesday of this week and Wednesday of the following week, Roz and myself will be at the National Theater. So, and also next Thursday, Sons of Allah. Did that come quick or what?
It came quick. Time cycles
not this Thursday. Next Thursday is Sons of Allah, and then the following 18th, I believe that's Sister Standing on Law. So next week, so make sure and check us out. Peace and love to everyone listening. Thank you very much.
Islam, peace and love to all.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy with